Hey, it's John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth. It is Tuesday. What is it, June 3rd? I think it's June 3rd. Yes, it is. And looking out the studio window here, I can hear the chirps of the birds and see the sun on the trees. It looks like a beautiful day, high about 72 here in southeastern Massachusetts. And tomorrow going to heat up. It's going to be like a regular summer day. Wednesday and Thursday. Might get out to the beach, or maybe take that boat out for the first trip of the year. I don't know, but it looks like you're gonna have to get your shorts. Get your shorts. It's gonna be a scorcher. Gonna be a scorcher on Thursday. Get your shorts and get out there and enjoy the good weather that is finally here. And great to have you here for this show. I want to cover a couple of things today. First off, we're going to look at a clip from Tom Homan on Hannity last night, but we're also going to talk about what is going on with the Democrat Party and especially with Maura Healey. We have some news from the Republican side on money raised by Mr. Shortsleeve. Big chunk of money raised by Mr. Shortsleeve. And we also are going to check in with our friends. Oh, hold on. Let me get my air quote. Our friends in Worcester. So as you know, yesterday was a huge news day. And we're going to dive into kind of the trouble that Governor Healey got herself into because she got ahead of a story. She made a mistake that you usually wouldn't see a governor make. Made a mistake that usually you wouldn't see a governor make, because by the time you become governor, usually you probably already made this mistake, 12 years ago. So you don't make it again. But she made a mistake over the weekend, and then yesterday afternoon she quadrupled down on stupid, and we're going to talk about why she did that. But first, as I said, let's listen to this quote from Homan on Hannity last night, which is incredibly disturbing about the number of people that got away. They're not illegal aliens that got caught. They got away. And here we go here. Take a listen.
And what did we learn from 9/11/01? They were at war with us. We were not at war with them. The 9/11 Commission report. They're plotting, planning, and scheming.
If you're not familiar with the guy in the T-shirt without the shirt, that is the offender, allegedly, the Molotov cocktail offender out in Boulder, Colorado from over the weekend.
This is a terror attack. I'm worried about the big terror attack. And of course, my prayers, my thoughts, my sympathies go out to the victims here. But do you not agree that if we don't find these people soon, that we are at risk of a 9/11 or worse?
It's coming. I mean, why did 2 million illegal aliens pay more to get away? They could have paid half of what they paid, cross the border, turn yourselves into a border patrol agent, get released that same day, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, plus free medical care and work authorization. 2 million people paid more to get away. They didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to be fingerprinted. Why? This scares the hell out of me. I've been doing this for 40 years. It should have scared the hell out of every American what the Biden administration did. This 2 million known gotaways scares the hell out of me. So I'm convinced something's coming unless we can find them.
They came from over 200 countries. We don't know how many. We know they're a terrorist.
And Hannity goes on. And we only know about 2 million gotaways. We really have no idea how many gotaways they are. We have an estimate that there's 2 million gotaways, but we really have no idea. Let me tell you, because I was just in down in the border region. As you know, I went to Arizona to the border, New Mexico to the border, and Texas to the border just in March. And I was out there, in the panhandle of New Mexico, talking with a border agent, and he's like, way the hell out there. There's no Trump wall. There's just a barbed wire fence. That's it. it is so wildly remote. The road that I took, I was like, there's no way I'm going down that road at night. And I made sure because I was like right on the border. And that's where I found the stockpile of Trump wall that was just like, they don't need there's no security around it because it is so far remote that, yeah, you don't need to secure it. Yeah, no one's stealing it way the hell out there. There's no barbed wire fence. There's no warehouse. It's just in a pile, literally out in the desert, and it's within about a football field of the border itself. It's so wildly remote, like nothing. It's a landscape that we have no comparison here in Massachusetts, that we really have no idea what's crossing that border. I would also say the inverse is probably true. On the northern border, it's just visually a lot different. It's trees up in, North Dakota or whatever, or Maine. And we really have no idea what's coming over our border. And as Holman said, I mean, he's very concerned about that. And the clip starts with Hannity talking about 9/11 because, we didn't really see that. Well, we probably should have seen it coming, given the coal in the previous World Trade Center bomb. I mean, there were some indications, but those people that did something, right, Congresswoman Omar, they crossed over into our country through ports of entry. But when you're crossing the desert in New Mexico, there ain't no port of entry out there. And there's no way, really, the way it's currently set up for the Border Patrol, especially during the Biden administration. I should have a gesture for the auto pen. Shouldn't I? I should have an auto pen gesture. I should have an auto pen gesture. There's no way certainly during the Biden administration that that they knew who any of those people were, right? Who any of those people were, because a lot of them, horrifically, sadly, were criminals, either back in their home country, and then they continue that habit here. As we heard from the excellent interview, which we covered last week on this channel, from the Valley Patriot, my friend Tom, he interviewed the mayor of Lawrence. And he said, hey, listen, we have people that are back in their home country, whether it's the Dominican or Venezuela or wherever it is, and they're bad guys. And as Tom followed up and said, hey, and these bad guys are coming to America, Lawrence in this particular case, and they're continuing to be bad guys. And all credit to Mayor DePina up in Lawrence for saying he wants ICE in his community. He wants ICE in his community to get rid of these criminals. And he literally said that Lawrence is now safer. This guy's a registered Democrat, if I'm not mistaken. He literally just said Lawrence is safer because ICE is taking these criminals off the street. That type of language from a Democrat elected official in Massachusetts, that's verboten, right? But here's the thing. When you have people like Maura Healey, who lives in Arlington, or Jamie Eldridge, who I think lives in Acton, those are communities that don't have to live directly or 24 hours a day with the consequences of the policies that they support. Do they? No, they don't. No, they don't. We had yesterday, and I would imagine for Mr. Featherston, who posted about this, this is a tremendously traumatic event for the child who's 8 years old. And I imagine also for Mr. Featherston, it's going to be like a flashback, because this is the second case that at least comes to mind. There might be more, of an illegal immigrant. This is really hard to say, raping his daughter. And I know that Jessica Machado was on this case yesterday. She attended the arraignment by Zoom. Here, and this has got to be even difficult for Mr. Featherston to even talk about. I can't. In horrific. I mean, just almost unspeakable for the child, right? I mean, it's just you can't even wrap your mind around this. Nothing from Jamie Eldridge on this in his backyard. So Mr. Eldridge, who's the state senator from that neighborhood out in Marlborough Way, it's outrageous that yet another level of cruelty for ICE to arrest a Milford High School student. As State Senator Rebecca Rausch said, putting high school students in shackles does not make anyone safer. Large Latino communities facing trauma. Listen, remember, of course, the only people that need to be worried are migrant communities are worried. You don't have to be worried if you're here in the States legally. Somebody used Grok or whatever, the AI thing to estimate how many. Maybe you could go do it. Fact check it for me. But I think it came up with something like an estimate of there's estimates of up to 300,000 illegal immigrants here in Massachusetts. Somebody fact check me, put it in the comments. See what your AI search engine tells you. But this is just horrific. Illegal immigrant charged with child rape by Rick Sobey in the Boston Herald out of Marlborough. And remember that situation where this happened previously that we know of occurred in Marlborough at the Healey Hotel in Marlborough. That was managed by Mr. It's just awful. What is this? The fifth known rape of a little girl in Marlborough in the last year? Nothing from Jamie Eldridge or the governor. Gee, John, I didn't know it was the fifth. I mean, it's just, you can't even you can't even wrap your head around it. It's just absolutely horrific, absolutely horrific. And I can hear the left saying right now, things happen, right? When Corey Alvarez of Rockland Hotel fame got charged with the rape of a 13 or 15-year-old at the Rockland Hotel, Governor Healey basically said things happen. Remember that? It's so incredibly tone deaf. Let's have a little quiz. Because you hear this from the left all the time. You hear from them. They say things like migrants commit crime at a lower rate than regular Americans. I've heard this a lot. But let's just crystal clear remember, or quiz you, my audience. We'll quiz you, my audience. Let's not talk about the rate, but let's talk about the number of incidences. All right, class, here's your quiz. How many incidences of illegal immigrant crime should there be in the United States? How many incidences of illegal immigrant crime should there be in the United States? Let's see. Anybody with a Bueller? Anybody? I'm waiting for somebody to type in the comments. The answer is 0. The answer, it's kind of a trick question. I know it's still 9 a.m. You're just waking up. The answer is 0. There should be no incidences of illegal immigrant crime in the because why? Extra credit question. They shouldn't be here at all. Every single crime, like with Lake Riley, every single one of those crimes never should have happened at all. Somebody the other day asked me about Mr. Denise, who was killed by the original Milford man many years ago. That should have never happened because the offender should never have been here at all. The incidents should be 0. The rate should be 0. Just unbelievable. You know, Mr. Lyons yesterday at the press conference was 100% on fire. Love the little bit of the Irish South Boston temper coming in there. And one of the questions that he answered at the very end of the press conference, actually I had shut it off, but he was walking off stage and some reporter yelled like, "Why are your agents wearing masks?" And he came actually kind of like charging back to the podium to answer. And he's like, because across the country, these anti-ICE activists are doxing not only the agents, but the families of the agents. And he was like, that is not gonna, that we are not gonna put up with that. We are not gonna put up with that. And he said a number of other things. One of the other things was that, and it served as the inspiration for a post I put up later today. And let me just bring it up on the screen in here in a second. But he said something like, hey, there somewhere in Massachusetts, there's been another 18-year-old arrested somewhere in Massachusetts over the weekend. Nobody is having a rally for that kid. They're only having a rally for the illegal immigrant 18-year-old kid that got arrested. Why is that? Todd Lyons rhetorically asked at the press conference yesterday. And yeah, so I kind of formed, I was like incredibly insightful. And this post was kind of inspired by Mr. Lyons' comments. Somewhere in Massachusetts yesterday, a different 18-year-old got arrested for something. He didn't make the front page of the Globe like Mr. Gomez did, or whatever his name is. The governor didn't call for his release. Classmates didn't walk out of school. Why? Because the kid is a U.S. citizen, right? There was some other 18-year-old kid that got arrested yesterday, but he's not special. He's just a U.S. citizen. It's only the illegal immigrant kid that gets special treatment, that the candlelight vigil, the congressman showing up on the streets of Milford, the special statement from the governor, the front page coverage from the Boston Globe. That only occurs if you're an illegal immigrant and you get arrested. But if you're a regular old kid from North Adams and you have 83 parking tickets, or you were found driving down the street at 120 miles an hour in Barnstable, or, whatever reason why you were stupid in 18, you're not on the front page. There's no vigil for you because you're just a regular U.S. citizen. Some people are more equal than others. And remember, the people that are more equal are the ones that are here illegally. Never forget that. They're the ones that get the free housing. They're the ones that get the free meals, the job training, the taxi cab rides to and from work. They're the ones that need to be protected and cared for. Not you. Not your struggling 18-year-old kid from Hanson that's wondering about his life prospects because there's not a lot of jobs in a sleepy little town, right? They're too busy in Hanson, worried that you might actually see a Trump logo on a remote water tower in the middle of effing nowhere. That's the number one concern in Hanson, not the economic prospects of their high school students. And the kid from Medford, I should stop kidding. He's an adult from Medford, made the front page of the Boston Globe yesterday. Wherever he goes, he blesses people. That's just like the old Howie Carr article. With Howie always would write. He's turning his life around. Mother of detained Milford student hopes for his release. Huh. I didn't see a picture of the mother in the article, and I don't think they talked to his dad because his dad is wanted by ICE, and maybe his mother too. I don't know. Yeah, really very unfortunate. So over the weekend, as we mentioned, there was a yes, Edward. Yes, the answer is 0. Yes, absolutely. Ed also follows up. Let's put them in every liberal's basement. Right. Well, that's what they asked for. If you have extra space, I'm still waiting for BUR or GBH to go back to that house in, what was that? What was that family in Brookline that let the illegal immigrants live in their house? I'm waiting for the how did that turn out story. Let's see. Maura's big problem is herself. She's the problem. Well, that's the next story that we're going to get to right now. So over the weekend, and thank you so much for joining us today. Over the weekend, Maura kind of got ahead of the facts by posting this special statement where she was demanding immediate answers. And the way I read that from a public relations point of view, I really felt that it was getting a little bit ahead of the story, getting a little bit ahead of the facts. And if it was the Democrat Party from 10, 15, 20 years ago, or even a savvy politician from today, maybe you could have issued a statement of concern. Listen, it's Saturday. I just heard about the facts from the other day. I'm concerned. I'm eager to speak to our federal law enforcement partners on Monday. I will be asking for more details. I'll keep you posted. That probably should have been a little bit more of a moderate response from the governor instead of I demanding immediate answers. Yeah, because it ends up that the father put the kid in that position because, as Todd Lyons and the other officials from yesterday said, the father had the habit, apparently, on multiple occasions of driving at excessive speeds in residential neighborhoods, and he's here illegally, and they stopped the car thinking it was the dad, and instead they found the kid, and they're both here in the country illegally. So, as Mr. Lyons and Patricia Hyde described yesterday, they don't want to arrest you, but if you're, they're only looking for the worst of the worst. But if they trip over you during the course of their investigation, you're a collateral arrest. And yep, that's the way it goes. Oh, by the way, just as an aside, let me just tell you what I really think is going to happen with the Milford 18-year-old. I'm pretty sure, if I just my hunch is that by the end of the week, or certainly by the next week, he'll probably get sprung by some liberal lefty judge, right? Right, and then there'll be a big parade for him in Milford. I'm guessing the odds of that are probably well north of 80%. That the chance, this kid's gonna get like a ticker tape parade. He's gonna return like. Remember the scene in Goodfellas where Ray Liotta gets busted, but he doesn't talk, and then the guys meet him on the stairs of the courthouse, and he thinks they're gonna be mad, but no, They gave him a pat on the back. And that's how it's got to be. It's got to be that scene from Goodfellas. So we had this statement from Healey on Saturday. It was Saturday, right? And then on Monday, she had this 10:30 press conference about selling state land or something like that. And she made some more comments, kind of doubled down on her Saturday statement. But by then she should have known. I mean, I knew. By then, she should have known that the feds were going to have a press conference at 11:30. But nonetheless, she went forward with a rather aggressive statement at 10:30. Not many people covered it. And then at sometime late yesterday, let me just get the TikTok on this. It was actually at 6:46 p.m. She felt that she didn't get enough coverage on this, and she actually clipped it and sent it out. And this was well after her and certainly her team should have known that the reason why they swept up the kid was because they were looking for his dad. And she already doubled down at 10:30, and then later in the evening, she like doubles down on, she quadruples. It's just like, why did she do that? Because at any point during the day, you got to say, okay, maybe we need to pump the brake. Maybe we need to have a voice of reason here. Maybe just once it's possible the feds, they couldn't help themselves, right? Right. They came across somebody who was illegal. What, are they not going to arrest him? But she continued to post. I would have just kind of backed away and talked and not talked or talked about something else. But instead, she continues to push this. And I actually sent a direct message to a friend of mine, and I was like, why did she do it? It seems like it's like an electoral death wish. It makes no sense at all why she would make this, why she would be promoting this statement. Take a listen to what she said. This is at 10:30, but then she posts it to the socials late yesterday.
It appears that this 18-year-old junior in high school, Milford High School, who's a honors student, a volleyball player, I believe played in the band also, lived here in Milford since he was 5 or 6 years old, was picked up while he was in a car with other Milford High students on their way to volleyball.
Because they were looking for his father. He was in the band and he's just going to volleyball practice. It's all the elements of everything that you have like a perfect story here. They throw in all these facts which are not relevant. He's just going to volleyball. This kid is just going to volleyball
practice. And we've had no information about the circumstance, what led to this. And I think at this point, given that a few days have passed and ICE has had plenty of opportunity to examine whether or not they made a mistake, because they have made mistakes, unless ICE has additional information that would substantiate that this individual had some criminal involvement, he should be released.
And the wild thing is that she says this at 10:30 a.m. and she knows that the U.S. attorney is having a press conference at 11:30 a.m. And then after ICE releases all the backstory during the day and at the press conference, she then still sends out this clip at 6:46 p.m. Even well after she has gotten the answers. She demanded immediate answers. She got them Monday at 11:30. And then still by 6:30 at night, she's still with this spin. By the way, I didn't notice this, but I think Mr. Featherston noticed it. And both Maura Healey and Kim Driscoll are wearing orange. I did not color correct this. But they're both wearing orange. I'm pretty sure that's Kim Driscoll to the background there. Both are wearing orange. So yeah, they're all ready. They're all ready. They're ready for their close-ups. So I said to myself, why is she doing it? It just makes no electoral sense. And then I thought to myself, okay, why would she do that? Why would she continue to press this lie? Because it makes no electoral sense. And then it dawned on me. And I was pretty busy yesterday. It's pretty I had other things on my mind. And so it took me a little while. And it was like, Jack. She's not worried about the general election right now. She's worried about the primary. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm sure Maura Healey noticed that in New York State, according to Politico and all the publications, the lieutenant governor in New York State has now announced that he is going to be running against Kathy Hochul. This is Kathy Hochul's hand-picked lieutenant governor. Her literally hand-picked lieutenant governor, Antonio Delgado, is now going to challenge her in the primary. In the people are circling the wagons out in New York State. Congresswoman Stefanik, she's strongly thinking about challenging Hochul. And in fact, Stefanik was out in Staten Island for an event yesterday, I believe. That's way far away from her district. And literally, Hochul's hand-picked lieutenant governor is now challenging Hochul. And Antonio Delgado took over for the prior lieutenant governor who had he was ethically challenged, as we'll put it that way. And I'm sure this does not escape Maura Healey. I'm not suggesting that Kim Driscoll is going to run against Maura Healey. But what I am suggesting is that Maura is incredibly vulnerable on the left. If you look what other people are saying, doing, let's take Mrs. Potato Head. Yesterday, she announced that she will not stand by while Trump and ICE terrorize our communities. There's that language again, terrorizing our communities. And hands off our immigrant neighbors. Hands off our immigrant neighbors. Once again, if you're here in the country legally, then good for you. Okay, yeah, no problem. We only have a problem with illegal immigrants. Notice how all of the language tries to tongue-tied on that word today. Blur the difference. They don't want you to notice the difference. There's legal, which is fine, and then there's illegal, which is not. Right? They don't want you to. They want to just merge all of that together. They don't want you to notice the difference. Hands off our neighbors, our immigrant neighbors. So here's Mrs. Potato Head out listening to moms. Oh, she's hugging them. Today I convened advocates. So that's what we need. Impacted families and local leaders to tell them loud and clear, hands off our neighbors. So that's what people in the left are doing. When we look at comments, let's say you go to comments on Maura Healey's Blue Cry account, which at the time that I looked it up, she only had 3 comments on her Blue Cry. She's getting bashed by the left. Why did you allow this to happen? That's child trafficking and endangerment. Have you ordered the state police to open an investigation into the kidnapping? I mean, these people on the left are absolutely nuts. Let's take a look. And we won't listen because it's really hard to, it's hard on your ears. But here is Rebecca Winter. She is the completely unhinged commie that runs Mass 5051, which is, they have a couple of events coming up. Wait till I post up the events that they've got coming up. It's something else. She said yesterday, she's like, you should be nonviolent. And then at the end of her video, she says, it's time to step up and stop it. That sounds kind of insurrection-y. Take a listen to what she said. This is from Sunday, where she says, ICE kidnaps and traffics children. This is just completely unhinged, but this is the core. Make no mistake, this is the core of the Democrat Party. It's no longer Tom Finneran for whatever pluses and minuses he might have had as a person. It's no longer Tom Finneran's party.
4 p.m. If you are attending, please remember to remain nonviolent and make your voices heard. We all need to be contacting our legislators and demanding they uphold the 14th Amendment, our right to due process. This is not Soviet Russia. This is not world.
The irony here is, of course, that they want an economy that's like Soviet Russia.
War II Germany. This is America in 2025, and it's unacceptable that our children are being kidnapped and trafficked to prisons or sent to countries they have no memory of by paid masked civilian bounty hunters parading as federal agents.
What was that? Listen to that again.
Due process. This is not Soviet Russia. This is not World War II Germany. This is America in 2025, and it's unacceptable that our children are being kidnapped and trafficked to prisons or sent to countries they have no memory of by paid masked civilian bounty hunters parading as federal agents. This is immoral and unconstitutional, and it's time to step up and stop it.
Understand that, let's just say this Saturday is going to be a beautiful 75-degree day. If we had a contest and Rebecca Winter, who that person was, if she sent out one post on social and said, meet me at 10 a.m. on the Common, we're going to have a rally. And Maura Healey sent out one post on social that said, meet me at 10 a.m. on the other side of the Common, we're going to have a rally. Just one social media post. Understand that this woman right here would get more people to her rally on a post-by-post basis than Maura Healey. This woman right here who runs 5051, she is the core of the Democrat Party in Massachusetts. She's the core of the Democrat Party in the Massachusetts. She has more social media oomph than the governor. And right, the governor depends upon people like Rebecca Winter and her organization and all of those other nuts to make it happen for the Democrat Party in Massachusetts. Understand that is just the case. That is just the case. These people are fired up. They're angry. They're disappointed in Maura Healey. They're disappointed in Maura Healey. Someone says, Kenny says, these people aren't serious people. Oh yeah, they are serious. Look at her. She's dead serious. As somebody said earlier today, look at the eyes. She's dead serious. All they know is what they learned in college studying theater. Yeah. Well, there is that. But they're dead serious. They're 100% committed to their cause. The Democrats have this guy, Jonathan Cohn. You've probably seen him. I think he's blocked me or something on Twitter, but I still can read his post. I don't know how that works. Anyways, this is the second day in a row, if I'm not mistaken, where he's used the word terrorism. You actually just heard that from Mrs. Potato Head a minute ago. Governor Healey, ICE is trying to terrorize immigrant communities. Again, no, we're only trying to arrest illegal immigrants. If you're here legally, you got nothing to worry about. And you have been doing next to nothing to stand up for them. Jonathan Cohn, who, he's the progressive. Then I saw this post from this candidate for Congress out in Western Mass.
We know exactly what ICE is doing. What we need is a governor who will stand up for human rights, stand up for people's rights, and stand up for the rule of law.
What we need is a governor that, and she goes on and on, blasting the governor. Blasting the governor. The governor is worried. Clearly. Remember a week and a half ago, the governor said something nice about Trump. She said, there's a couple of things that Trump on the border has done that has been okay. Remember, she said she got roasted by the far left for those comments. Roasted. She's worried about a primary. And by the way, just to let you know, if you want a Republican governor elected in the fall of 2026, the best thing that could happen right now to make that happen, and I do believe literally the number one best thing would be to have Maura have a primary on the left, because that keeps Maura busy. I'm not saying she'll lose that primary. She'd probably win. She's the incumbent. But that keeps her busy with that primary challenge all summer into the primary. And she's going to have to spend an amazing amount of resources. It's going to pull her farther and farther left. It's actually, in my sense, the number one key for us to win in November 2026 is for her to have a primary. It's the absolute best thing that could happen. And she's desperate to avoid that. She's desperate. That's why she gets ahead of herself here like she did last week or this weekend. And she's desperately trying to avoid that. When I first got my job, this is a story. This is a long story, but I got my job at the State House 33 years ago or something like that, 1992. I took over from this old crusty guy with a lot of wisdom. His name is Paul. He was originally from South Boston. He got his first political job, real political job, working on Senator Kennedy's campaign for president in 1968. And Paul had a picture of Dapper O'Neill, kind of like, and he had written in a Sharpie, "Liberals eat their young." And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to learn a couple of things from Paul. And he had seen a couple of, he was literally in the kitchen at the Ambassador. Sirhan ran into him after he assassinated Senator Kennedy. Paul worked at the White House. Paul worked for Senator Kennedy, Edward, later on. And the only reason he was leaving the State House was to go help run the Democratic National Convention in New York City that year. So I took over from him. Anyways, liberals eat their young. And that's kind of like a French Revolution kind of reference, and that's what's happened to the Democrat Party. Instead of making the move like Bill Clinton made in 1994, after they got smoked in the midterms in 94, Clinton moved to the center. And then he did very well in 96. Instead of doing that, there's no more rational adult center. There's no more voice of reason in the Democratic Party. It is just a incredibly slipperier slope. You cannot get whatever is the orthodox left today is the radical, in their mind, is the radical right in 6 months from now. It is very French Revolutionary-ish, right? Or left, as the case may be. And that's where they're at. They cannot, in any way, they can't, and that's why we saw that CNN story from the other day, and I don't have the clip, but the ratings for the Democrat Party are cratering. But don't you worry, GBH is reporting, but the reason I bring this up is because yesterday they laid off 6% of their staff. Trump's fault. Amid crackdown fears, Massachusetts undocumented immigrants seem to be still getting driver's license. Don't you worry, they're still getting driver's licenses, which they can use to register to vote because their driver's license looks exactly like your driver's license. And they've basically disabled the link between your town clerks and the state database to confirm whether or not they're actually citizens. So don't worry. The most important thing is still happening. Illegal aliens are getting driver's licenses, which they can then use to register to vote. But Jack, there's no proof of that. There's no proof of that because literally you disabled the computer system that allows you to double check it. Right? Even Charlie Baker was onto that. Right? That's one of the reasons why he vetoed it, which subsequently got overturned, because like part of the legislation was to disable the ability of the town clerks to actually check, are you here in the country legally? No, they can't. They have to accept the driver's license now on face value. They register you to vote. Mr. Shortsleeve is not short on cash. He is announcing that he raised $416,000 in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, 20 days. I ran some numbers. I hope I have these right. And no one's corrected me, so I'm assuming they're right. But Keneally reported 311,200 of which came from a candidate loan. So he only raised 100 something plus. I'm kind of a little fuzzy on the number, but I'm in the ballpark. Mr. Keneally has also mentioned that he's willing to loan his campaign up to another $2 million, if I have the numbers right. He currently has $256,000 on hand. Mr. Shortsleeve has not yet been obliged to file a report. So you don't get, when you go to OCPF, you don't get the bar graph that shows you receipts, expenditures, and cash on hand. That will show up soon enough when he finally files the next report, and we'll find out how much he has on hand. But and we'll get more numbers that can be more easily compared. Of course, they're not super in real time, but they are a little bit in real time. God, I hate that. Did I just say real time? I hate that phrase. What other time is there, right? Impressive number for Mr. Shortsleeve. I would have to say, whoa, okay, that's impressive. Very impressive. That's a lot of money. And I don't think I did the sorted by the dollar amount, and I don't think there was any candidate loan in there, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody could fact check me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's impressive chunk of change. Now, he could get big-footed by Mr. Keneally's $2 million loan, but it puts him on the map. That $400,000 is going to put you on the map. By the way, I also noticed, and congratulations to well, especially Mr. Shortsleeve, because he's actually kicked up his video game just a little bit. If you notice there, he made a video. Yeah. So, and I think he made a video from the Somerset Republican Committee last night, I think. So, gotta be making more video every single day. I want to bring you up to date on a story from Massachusetts that kind of has national repercussions and Second Amendment repercussions. You remember this knucklehead here, right? Here he is here this was Newton, if I'm not mistaken. If you haven't seen this, watch what happens next. He's across the street, and here he sees something he doesn't like. Oh, what was that? He just the guy that lunged in at across the street and jumped on. He just got shot, and the gentleman on the ground there with the water bottle in his back pocket, wearing the blue shirt with the red stripe. That's Mr. Hayes, who apparently was supposed to somehow meld into the sidewalk and escape the scene while his attacker was on top of him. Yo! Oh my God! And yeah, so and it continues. So Mr. Hayes, who defended himself using his Second Amendment rights, is going on trial. One of the first documented terrorist attacks against those who support Israel was against me. Well, I mean, to be fair, Mr. Hayes, it was not the first one, but certainly a recent one in a long list of recent unhinged attacks against supporters of Israel was against him in September of last year. And in 16 days, I stand trial for my self-defense. The district attorney is literally going to charge him and bring him to trial for defending himself after he got jumped by some unhinged anti-Free Palestine nut. And Mr. Hayes is going to have to somehow, and they're saying that Mr. Hayes should have retreated in some way, shape, or form. Outrageous. I mean, if you have a gun permit, you're holding the gun legally, and someone jumps you, and you're with your back to the sidewalk, and the guy's on top of you, isn't that the time that you're allowed to use your weapon? Isn't that the time? I think that's the time. But somehow the district attorney, who's that, Walsh? Somehow she thought Mr. Hayes was supposed to magically vanish into the sidewalk somehow. Insane. There was some talk of some type of settlement, and then from what I understand, the DA backed out of it. Crazy. You would think that now, with the echo of these other horrific anti-Israel situations that we've just had out in Colorado and in Washington, D.C., you would think that the DA would wake them up. That case should horrify anyone. And it's a civil rights issue. The Civil Rights that's why they call it the Civil Rights Coalition. It's a civil rights issue. If you legally have a weapon based upon your Second Amendment God-given right to have one, and someone is literally on top of you and your shoulder blades against the sidewalk, isn't that when you can defend yourself? Alex. You know Alex. He's like a ex-superstar. He's been now blocked. He's been now blocked by Edel Heiley or whatever. You know, she's the completely unhinged city councilor from Worcester. She's the one that caused the chaos on Eureka Street in Worcester. Apparently Alex, I knew Alex was from Massachusetts, but I didn't know he was a constituent of Edel Heiley. Her excuse is for the impending federal arrest and assaulting officers. That was the illegal. So I don't know if you've been following Edel Heiley. It's been kind of hard to follow Edel Heiley because why? She hasn't had much to say. I am not, for whatever reason, she has not gotten around to blocking me, but her account is like locked. So I think that's effectively the same thing. But she has posted a handful of things to Instagram, mostly just community service announcements. She's been usually very outspoken, hardly said a thing. And I think Alex is right, and he's following up what I saw have said, is that it's probably because she's going to get indicted, right? Like it's very likely, and the U.S. attorney now is also very busy, so she might be farther down the priority list. But one of our Worcester friends, I actually remember when I went to the rally and I interviewed the school committee candidate as she walked down the street. I was actually there to interview Edel Hajiai. That's who I really wanted to interview. But she didn't come out to the rally because I don't really know if she's been at anything in public since she declared at the press conference, ICE get out of our city. I don't think she's been anywhere. That maybe at a city council meeting, but she's been kept a very low profile. Yeah. But Edel, from what I understand, you could call Roger Stone, but from what I understand, they come early in the morning. Okay. Worcester activist critical of city manager faces 1-year city hall ban. So David effing Webb, that's literally his name on Instagram. He has been banned from City Hall for, according to this lengthy letter. In the we're not going to read the letter. Don't worry about it. We're not going to read the letter, but I mean it is a lengthy letter. Let's just bring it up here real quick. It's 15 pages. Oh my God. It's a no trespass order. And yeah, it has been brought to my attention. You have repeatedly engaged in behavior which constitutes a violation of Worcester City Hall conduct policy attached here too. You have also consistently visited several City Hall offices, making employees feel uneasy and fearful on an ongoing basis. You've approached individuals, blah, 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 blah. All right. So we actually talked about a First Amendment issue yesterday on this program relative to Mr. Nelson and the fact that he got arrested while riding his bike on Dorchester Avenue when it was closed for the Dorchester Day Parade. And I feel that this banning of Mr. Webb is something that you have to proceed with extreme caution. And it really can only come after a long track record of written and documented complaint. Because just simply because you have a camera and that you're recording somebody, that is not sufficient. Remember, photography is not a crime, especially if you're in a public place. And that would include, I think, inside a city building, as long as you're in the public hallways or meeting rooms. And especially if you're outside, and especially if who you're recording is like a public official or a candidate or something like that. So while I'm laughing at this David Webb ban, which might be justified in this particular case. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but this guy literally wears a t-shirt that says, not that this is a crime, but it says something about him and the way he conducts himself. It says public menace on the shirt. He's proudly a public menace. He's a pain in the ass. But being a pain in the ass doesn't necessarily ban you from City Hall. And I think if we'd read this 15-page memo, we'd be like, okay, yeah, you've crossed the line. Yeah. And I think we have somehow lost this sense of reasonableness, civility, right? And I understand definitely that we need the kind of Sam Donaldson, shouting questions from the back row, public interest journalism that most of the mainstream media in Boston does not practice because they're in the tank for the current thing, or current person. I get that. But when you start banning people that are citizen journalists, you better have a really strong case. So, and it seems as if, based upon this 15-page memo, which I have not read with the fine-tooth comb, it seems as if they do have a very strong case. I'm sure Mr. Webb, who is the ultimate pain in the ass, I'm sure Mr. Webb will probably challenge it. He'll probably challenge it. But it sounds as if he has gone way over the line multiple documented times. And, and if you want to be the City Hall crank carrying around your cell phone camera and pissing people off, there is a sense of decorum. At some point, you're like, it can't be your mode of behavior is it just to piss people off. If the questions you ask are uncomfortable, then that's too bad. And I've never asked this question of TFA, but if I saw TFA in the hallway and I asked her, hey, how many more paychecks are you going to get? Do you think your prosecution was racially motivated? If I asked her those questions, those might be uncomfortable, but that's within the bounds of reason, especially if you're not physically obstructing her progress through the hallway. You're walking along with her. I think there is this sense. I don't know if there's an exact written guideline, but there's got to be a sense of reasonableness to these things. And you see this type of conflict journalism a lot in Washington, D.C., in the halls of Congress and on the streets of Washington near the Capitol. You see it a lot because a lot of these people don't want to be accountable at any time. So you got reporters for the Daily Caller following Ilhan Omar down the street, just like we saw a couple weeks ago. That's totally within the rounds of journalism. Totally. So if you're going to start banning people, you better have a really good case. And if you're going to start arresting hecklers on bicycles, you better have a really good case. I did not see a good case with the arrest of Mr. Nelson the other day. I don't know. I didn't see it. Maybe something happened that was not caught on film, but I didn't see it. I don't want to immediately celebrate. Well, okay, I want to celebrate just a little bit the fact that Mr. Webb got banned because he is a pain in the ass, and he's a left-wing, commie. So I'm celebrating a little bit. He's an agitator, right? He's a left-wing agitator. So I'm celebrating a little bit, but not too much because I think it's a cautionary tale. More on that. We'll watch it as it develops. Let's see. We have a couple comments. Wendy. Oh, my old friend. Wendy remembers the guy I took over. So for those of you who don't know, when I started there at the State House, Wendy Wakeman, whose comment is on the screen right now, her cube was just a few cubes over from my cube. And we both knew this guy, Paul, and I took over for him. And he was a never-ending font of wisdom. In a way, Wendy, he represented the old Democrat Party, right? Of which, how do I want to say this? They're now Republicans. Wendy, you won. You got me. You won, right? You won. You finally won. Took a little while, but you got me. Let's see. Just a guy says that was alive in a cook. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. All right. So I'm losing my voice. It's been a busy day. I'm going to go out and buy myself a beach sticker, and you have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.